There was a homicide case that I was involved in, referred to on Dateline as the little girl in the blue dress. It was a cold case. It was a homicide that allegedly took place about 40 years ago, and I represented the mother of the missing 3-year-old. Her body was never discovered, and it was assumed that she was murdered. Jury ended up being deadlocked. It was a mistrial, and the defendant was not convicted. We've had a number of law enforcement individuals that we've represented who are sometimes charged with crimes. One such case involved 2 Englewood police officers. You can see here the sketch that the artist made of the court proceedings. The judge would not allow cameras. We tried that case, had a jury trial, and at the end of that jury trial, my client was found not guilty. One case that I handled was of an individual who was charged and convicted of a homicide. He served 17 years in state prison. He had a good lawyer, a good judge, and an ethical prosecutor, but he was wrongfully convicted. We filed a writ in his behalf after we were retained, and they released him from prison, and we were successful in getting a judge to find him innocent of the charges. The state offered some compensation. The most they offered was $10,000. That's the most that was available. This is the individual involved, and we enlisted the help of a state legislator, and we drafted some legislation, and he got the bill passed through the Assembly and the State Senate, and Governor Gray Davis, signed the bill awarding Mr. Green $640,000. It's the first time in the history of the state of California that there was ever a single person appropriations bill. And indeed, the state legislature recognized that and had an assembly resolution in his behalf to try and make up for the wrongful conviction. I was counsel for the director of the medical clinic at UCI that was involved with the fertility scandal here in Orange County, which Time magazine described as the biggest medical scandal in U.S. history. The fertility scandal was investigated by state and federal authorities. The Orange County District Attorney's Office investigated it, and finally were able to persuade them not to file the case in state court. The federal authorities then intervened, and they did eventually file the case. Eventually, before that case could come to trial, my client had left the country and gone to Mexico City, and then eventually to Argentina. So this case has been ongoing for many, many years. I've been practicing in this county for 40 years. I know all the deputy district attorneys, all the judges, court personnel, law enforcement people that operate in this county. And you can be assured that they know of our reputation. I have over 300 jury trials. I've represented some of their numbers, law enforcement people, judicial officers, and deputy district attorneys. When you're in our hands, they will know we're coming, and they will not fool around with us or try to make false accusations, because they know that we will ultimately prevail.